Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Sage Plate Channel. I have been romping around Europe for the last week, so I want to take you on a very real, raw garden tour because not only did I just get back like less than 12 hours ago on like a 10-hour plane ride, but it has gotten very hot here in Texas. Like we're talking like 100 plus temperatures. So we're gonna this is, you know what? Last year I did a very real, relatable, honest garden tour. I don't prep for these things. So we're just gonna do a little bit of a garden tour situation and see how big of an absolute disaster things are. So if this is your first time here at Sage Plate Channel, welcome. My name is Brooke. We do all things suburban and urban gardening here. I have two gardens. We are currently at my community garden, which is right next to downtown Austin, so you're gonna hear a little bit of traffic. That is the lovely morning rush hour that we get. I have a 10 by 20 foot plot, and then I have another half of one, so I guess that would technically be what, 5 by 20 feet. And then I also have a backyard garden at home. My two gardens are very different, and so we're gonna talk a little garden tour situation today. So like I said, I've been gone for the last 7 days, and we have a massive heat wave. So here in Central Texas, I'm in Zone 8B. Usually the heat this time of the year starts to get tough, so we start to really the tomato plants start to look pretty rough, and things get really hard to manage with the heat. We're also currently, which I'm gonna make a whole video about this, while we were gone, we're actually on a water conservation situation that I need to do more research on here in Austin. So like just drowning the plants in water probably isn't the best option. But yeah, so let's take a tour, let's look around. I did have people taking care of both of my gardens. So we had somebody that was staying at our house who was watering the gardens, and then I had one of my good friends who also has a community garden plot here. I had her watering this garden. So this is like real raw, coming back from a trip, and let's check it out. This is what happens when you're somebody who gardens and does other things in life and isn't just a full-time gardener or YouTuber. Like, this is just reality. Okay guys, so looks like our oregano is still killing it. These marigolds, these are French marigolds. They are just putting on a freaking show. And these, I believe, are orange flame marigolds right here. These are quite beautiful. And then these are a yellow and gold marigold. So the marigolds are gonna do really, really well in the heat. And also, y'all, this wall of zinnias that I planned is like more beautiful than I could have ever asked for. So we'll get a better look at all of those here in a second. So my okra, I'm gonna have to re-sow. So it looks like something is eating it. Also, this is like a big weedy mess we'll talk about in a second. My okra is not thriving. It's probably because I didn't soak the seeds, which was a big mistake on my part. So we're gonna have to re-sow the okra, but that's fine. Okra still has a long season here. My green bean patch is, I think it's pretty much done. So green beans can actually be a really awesome nitrogen fixer. And what that means is it puts nitrogen back into your soil. However, you have to wait for the green beans to like go through their whole entire life cycle before you actually like pull them. So I'm gonna go through today and see what beans I can harvest. And then honestly, I'm probably just gonna let the plants die off. And then we'll pull them out of the ground and weed this whole area. This is what happens. Like, this area was weeded like maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago. And this is how fast the weeds can take over, y'all. Like, these weeds, like this has not been, like, this looks like it hasn't been tended to in months, and I swear this was clear like 6 weeks ago. So weeds are just a big thing this time of year. And then we'll go check out our melon patch here in just a second. So let's check out some of these zinnias. So these are all different varieties. We have like California Giants, we have some canary bird zinnias, some cactus zinnias. My favorite are the double petaled ones. Those are always just really beautiful. This is a cactus zinnia for sure, and he kind of like fell over into the pathway, but everybody's been respectful enough not to step on him, so I think we're just gonna let him live. I do need to finish harvesting this sage, so we need to get more sage in to get dried. And then it looks like, man, these zinnias are just amazing right now. I mean, it's kind of crazy. These illumination zinnias, ooh, look at Look at these double-petaled peppermint stick zinnias. So these illumination zinnias are always just like unfreaking believable. I get the double-petaled ones pretty much every year. I'm not sure how. Okay, now I gotta make my way through the freaking tomato forest that is happening. Like, okay. Woo, buddy. All right, oh my God. Y'all, there are so many tomatoes to harvest. Okay, so we have more of the gold and red marigolds. These are phenomenal. I just like the marigolds here grow so well. Also, I don't know where this vine's coming from, but this is definitely a weed that's gonna have to be pulled. Oh my God, y'all, look at these. I can't. So we'll come in here, and these are our melons. Where are my melons? I had a couple melon babies over here. It looks like we've got a bunch of weeds. Okay, we're gonna have to pull those so that guy can get some sun. Okay, so this is a cantaloupe, and then this is a, oh my gosh, the leaves are spotted too. That's freaking cool. So this is a Stars and Moon yellow flesh watermelon. Hoping that guy takes off pretty soon. It looks like it might need a little more water. And then we have garlic over here that probably like needs to be pulled. I'm very confused by this garlic. It like started splitting in two and I don't understand. So we have more illumination zinnias over here. Oh my gosh, guys. I can't. Like, what is happening? These flowers are just breathtaking. And then look at some of these double-petaled. This is a meteor zinnia. It's like freaking gorgeous. These canary bird zinnias, I'm just in shock and awe. Like, look at that. I mean, ugh. Oh my God. Guys, what in the beauty is that? Oh, and apparently I have a volunteer native sunflower that will be coming down ASAP. Guarantee there's leaf-footed bugs living in that thing. Oh my gosh, y'all, I'm dead. Okay, so we have Queen Lime Orange. Those are quite beautiful. Looks like we have some Queen Lime Red. These ones are small. I don't really know why. It might be because I haven't cut them for about a week. Honestly, the best way to get your zinnias like really big and fat and beautiful is to cut them a lot. And then, oh, these are my Cracker Jack marigolds. These yellow ones are called Phyllis. And these orange ones, this one's kind of fallen apart at this point. Those are just Cracker Jack orange marigolds. I'm not gonna lie, I never anticipated that this like wall of zinnias was gonna be as insanely beautiful as it is. And I'm just like the happiest camper. So now that we've seen like the weeds, the beans, the okra, the melon, the beauty, all the stuff, let's look at some tomatoes. I have a lot of tomatoes to harvest right now, and my freezer is probably full of like 30 pounds of tomatoes that my friends very nicely harvested while I was gone that I'm gonna have to figure out what to do with, but we've got some plans. I think our San Marzanos are done. So here's the funny thing. These are all San Marzanos, and this soil had exactly the same treatment as the rest of the soil in the other gardens, and you can see that those tomatoes are still doing really well. So I think the San Marzanos are just not a great variety for our area. I mean, they just have baked in this heat. So I'm probably gonna take the last couple of tomatoes off of them and then kind of go from there. And here's the thing, in like the culinary world, you're always gonna hear like San Marzanos have the best taste. that just to me is like some elitist chef bullshit, because homegrown tomatoes are just better. So like if we're talking commercial tomatoes, yeah, San Marzanos are probably a little bit better. But here's the funny thing, it's kind of like champagne. Like sparkling wine isn't champagne unless it's grown in the Champagne region of France. San Marzano tomatoes are not San Marzano tomatoes unless they're grown in the San Marzano region of Italy. And like to me, the tomato terroir, which is like where they're grown, doesn't matter. And so I probably won't grow San Marzanos ever again. This has been a pretty good lesson. I tried them last year, I tried them this year. I'm just like not impressed because I have some Romas at the other end of this that are like freaking exploding. Like I would have had so many more tomatoes if I would have filled this space with my regular Romas, but this is just kind of what you get, right? Like when you try new things. So what's gonna be destined for this bed is we're gonna pull out all these plants, get it weeded, and then move on. My determinants, my red snappers, and my invincibles, they're doing really well still, honestly. Their leaves are definitely curled because of the heat. So we're just gonna try and limp these guys along, but I mean, there's so many tomatoes in here, y'all. I can't. I think, yeah, it's like amazing. I'm about to pick so many tomatoes. These are my other Romas that are just like killing the game. I need to get in here and tie them up with some tomato twine because we have some bigger branches that are just falling over. But like they're still putting off blossoms in this heat. Like I actually can't believe it. So some of these I did better at supporting than others. I think I definitely learned my lesson on, I need to do better at the Florida weave. These have basically become like tomato bush vines, but there are just freaking tons of tomatoes in here, like it's pretty crazy. And there, right there, that's a leaf-footed bug sucking the juice out of my tomatoes. Little jerk face. So those are doing really, really well. We're gonna get those picked. And then I have no idea what's going on over there, but I'm gonna need to go check that out. So this is a really good example of blossom end rot. This is what happens when the blossom, had a bug on me. This is what happens when the blossom doesn't fully fall off the tomato. It rots the end of it, and the tomato's no good. This doesn't usually happen. It usually happens because of a calcium deficiency. I work my soil pretty good with like a very balanced compost, so this doesn't normally happen, but it happens sometimes. Y'all, it is barely 7:30 and I am sweating, but let's look at all the tomatoes. So this is probably the 4th basket of tomatoes like this that I've gotten. So don't sleep on determinants, and oh my God. Today is Friday and I don't think the tomatoes that I have can wait any longer, so we are going to be doing some serious canning this weekend. But before we do that, let's go look at the backyard. We're back at home. Got my coffee. Did you know in Europe they drink tiny coffee? I didn't. I did want to talk for a second, just real quick, before we see the backyard garden. I talked about in my last video, my Ask Me Anything video, about aspirations, and I think the whole like European potager thing is awesome. I don't live in an environment for that, but it was awesome to go to Europe and experience the like formal gardens, and it kind of just really like kicks my butt into even more kind of developing a really beautiful perennial native southern garden. So really excited to do that someday. The other couple of things of inspiration that I took on my trip from Europe, we went to the most amazing market. If I only had access to a market like that to shop at regularly. I'll throw up some photos here like as I'm talking about it. It was wonderful. It was so wonderful. And like the farmers markets, at least here in Austin, just aren't like that. They're great, they're good, but they're just not like that. So anyways, sun's starting to come on to the backyard garden. So, oh, and the last thing, y'all, I can't eat yogurt. I had yogurt for breakfast multiple times in Europe because it was the only thing I could eat, because so much of European culture revolves around like bread, and I felt fine. And now I'm like, I think I need to eat more yogurt, but like the right type of yogurt. So TBD on that. And then I'm gonna grab a bowl because I think we have some things to harvest. There's some stuff that I harvested last week before I left that our friends who stayed at our house didn't eat. They ate a lot of stuff, but this is the time of year where there's a lot to eat. So we are going to take our coffee and our bowl and our camera and go gonna go check it out. So I think I can concede defeat on my dahlias. I got really hot this year for them. So that's that. It looks like this garden really struggled. So this was all peppermint that I really should have harvested like a long time ago. So we'll see if we can get it to kind of come back to life, but I'm pretty sure the dahlias are toast. My basil looks a little crunchy, but I think that can come back. Our repossessed lemon tree is killing the game. Yeah, this basil looks a little crunchy. These eggplants have been in the ground since mid-March, and neither of them have formed flowers. They're growing pretty slow, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. The heirloom tomatoes have been abysmal this year. So this time last year I was getting tons of tomatoes. We've had a really hot spring, but also I've had some wars with the squirrels. So I've kind of emotionally given up on my heirloom tomatoes, to be really honest with you guys. And it's kind of just one of those things where it's like, we'll try again next year and hope for a better result, slash, you know, hopefully we'll have our own house next year, so we can actually, you know, do more about the squirrel prevention than we can really here at a rental house where we don't really have control of the trees and all of that good stuff. But my sun golds are finally all ripening at once. I was getting sun golds, but it was just like a couple at a time. And now it looks like we're finally kind of getting quite a few at a time, which is awesome. Also, I think I'm gonna have to share some tomatoes with the next door neighbors who love tomatoes, because I don't think we're gonna be able to eat all of these, but I will sure try. So yeah, our tomatoes have just gotten so ravaged this year, but that's okay. Oh wow, the purple basil's looking well. Okay, so it looks like this bed's doing all right. I think the dahlias are just toast. Oh, that one randomly got a lot bigger. Okay, that's weird. The cosmos are toast. I actually think I'm gonna put a few like shorter sunflowers in here just for some pretty stuff. Peppers are doing well. Peppers are doing pretty well. They're coming in a little later than they did last year, which is not that surprising based on the weather we've had. And my tomatillos are actually coming back to life. So they got nailed pretty bad by spider mites. And so what I started doing is I started spraying them with water, just like really aggressively every day, to rinse the spider mites off. And that seemed to help. So it looks like we might have a few tomatillos forming. But man, this time next year, I was freaking drowning in tomatillos. It looks like we've got a little mini bell pepper guy that's probably ready. These mini bell peppers are good. The last one that I tried was really bitter though, so I'm not really sure what happened there. And then we've got, y'all, we have a ton of cherry tomatoes to harvest. So the cherry tomatoes have been a bit slow this year, kind of like all the other tomatoes. But these are the Sunrise Bumblebee. These are definitely some of my favorites. And so I'm really happy that this plant is starting to really kind of pop off. Y'all, I think a tomato pie is in order. I think that's gonna happen this weekend, because we have so many cherry tomatoes. So when we planned this trip that we just got back from, I kind of knew, I shouldn't say kind of, I definitely knew it was gonna be right in like the absolute height of tomato harvesting. And I kind of just knew that was gonna happen. Thank goodness, thank the Lord, thank the universe, thank whatever entity you believe in, that we have such wonderfully amazing friends who understand how much we love this garden, and they did such a phenomenal job at taking care of it. Like, I can't even express to you how much it means to me. So I'm going to have to figure out what kind of wonderful things I can make for them out of the garden produce, so that I can thank them for it. That, my friends, is sunburned pepper, but that's okay. So yeah, peppers are doing well, tomatoes are doing okay. Oh my gosh, this yellow pear is popping off. These are some of my favorite tomatoes. These are actually my mom's favorite tomatoes. Yeah, we're doing tomato pie. That's happening. And it looks like, yeah, the serranos are starting to pop off. So the key with peppers, at least what I've found, is the more you pick them. So with the life cycle of a plant, when you grow a plant, this plant is trying to produce more plants, trying to reproduce basically. And so the more you pick off the fruit that it's producing, the more you're gonna get, because the plant's goal is to reproduce. And so even with peppers, what I've noticed is that when you let a pepper get like this, when you let your pepper start getting red like this is a super ripe pepper. And what's gonna happen in the life cycle of the plant is that pepper is gonna get ripe, it's gonna drop from the plant, and then that's how it's gonna spread its seeds, or something's gonna eat it and it's gonna spread its seeds. So really, like, a big crux of gardening is you're kind of manipulating the life cycle of the plant, honestly, so that you can eat all of its delicious food. So yeah, kind of a weird way to think about it, but with tomatoes and peppers and all of this stuff, the more that you pick off of them, the more it's going to produce, because it tells the plant, like, oh no, we're not going to be able to, like, reproduce. We better, like, form more blossoms, and we better form more fruit. Like I said, kind of a weird way to think about it, but we were also getting hatch green chilies. Oh my god, everything's coming in at once. I definitely had a better bell pepper year last year. So here's an orange bell pepper. But what I think I'm gonna do, it looks like it's a little overripe. It's a little wrinkly. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna leave like all of these plants, hobble them through the hottest part of the year, and then we're going to see what they produce in the fall. So that's one of the weird, interesting things you could do here in Texas, is you can actually hobble your plants through and then get a second harvest out of them. So that's what I'm gonna attempt to do, because this garden goes bye-bye in the fall. So this tomato's looking real rough. Honestly, a lot of my grow bag stuff is looking terrible, just because it's been so hot. So we'll see if these can make a comeback. Probably not the end of the world. My rooted plum trees are really enjoying their new spot. I can't believe how much these have grown. So that's really exciting. These are gonna be 2 trees I can take to our new house. And then, oh, this is a little bit sad. So my cucumber and loofah wall is looking rough. So a lot of the vines are pretty dead, to be honest. It's just too hot for them. We'll see which ones I can salvage. And by the way, this is not due to a lack of water. Cucumbers are just like very, very, very sensitive to heat. We don't get great pollination here. The bees just don't come to the cucumbers. I don't know why. They prefer to go to like the one dying squash plant that I have. So bizarre. So we're gonna get them well watered and see if we can hobble them through. The only thing is that cucumbers are bitter when they get too hot. Like, that was so loud. They taste so bad. Like, we got our first cucumber before we left, and it tasted terrible. It was so gross that I like literally spit it out and threw it away. However, caveat to that is I am growing a silver slicer, and the silver slicers are supposed to not get bitter. The problem is we just haven't gotten any of them pollinated yet. So we're gonna give everything a nice deep water today, and see what can happen. So let's take a peek at the orchard. Tiny patio orchard. Some things look okay, some things don't. So our lemons are still sizing up. They're not really changing color yet, which is fine. But most of them look pretty healthy. Our key lime, some of them are really sizing up, which is awesome. Yeah, like look in there. Eureka pink lemon tree, looking real rough. So gonna have to figure out what's going on there. And then actually I may pick my first little baby peaches off this peach tree. They're feeling ripe. So that's very exciting. Okay guys, because I love you endlessly, and endlessly. I'm gonna taste my first peach live. She's tiny, but she smells really good. Oh my God. Guys. That's like the best peach I've ever had. It's so tiny, but it's so cute. And it's so good. Oh my God. Wow. That was phenomenal. Wow. There's one more. I'm gonna let Cam, my partner, have it. Wow. That was just like an explosion of like flavor. That is it for the, what month is it? What day is it? I don't even know. That's it for the June garden tour. Thanks so much for coming along. There's gonna be like tons of recipe content. We're in the thick of harvesting. There's a lot going on, but I'm really excited about it. I feel like really refreshed from being gone for a week and just having new like life experiences. But yeah, lots of good content coming up. I don't know what it is because I haven't planned it out yet, but as always, thanks so much for watching. Happy gardening. We'll see you next time.